Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Devrat Mishra from Department of Physics and Astrophysics, University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about the module Dielectric Properties 3 from paper Electronic, Magnetic and Optical Properties of Materials. So students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. So you will learn about local electric field of an atom, detailed study of Lorentz field and field of dipole inside a cavity. In this lecture, we will first recall the older one lectures to calculate the internal field in a dielectric. So, we will start with depolarizing field. The polarization P is defined as the dipole moment mu per unit volume. The dipole moment of a system of charges is given by mu is equal to summation over I Qi times Ri, where Ri is the position vector of charge. The value of the sum is independent of the choice of the origin of the system, provided that the system is neutral. The simplest case of an electric dipole is a system consisting of a positive and negative charge, so that the dipole moment is equal to q into d, where d is a vector connecting the two charges from negative to the positive. The electric field produced by the dipole moment at distances much larger then A is given in CGS units. ER is equal to 3 into mu dot R into R minus R square into mu whole divided by R to the power 5. Here we have assumed that R is greater than D, that is expression 2 is valid only at points far from the dipole itself. In atoms and molecules, this condition is well satisfied, since D being of the order of an atomic diameter is very well indeed. According to electrostatics, the electric field E is related to a scalar potential as follows: E is equal to minus grad phi. This gives the potential phi r is equal to mu dot r by r to the power 5. A dielectric acquires a polarization due to an applied electric field. This polarization is the consequence of redistribution of charge inside the dielectric. From the macroscopic point of view, the dielectric can be considered as a material with no net charges in the interior of the material and induced negative and positive charges on the left and right surfaces of the dielectric. The fact that the average charge inside the dielectric is 0 can be understood if we take a macroscopic volume. It will contain equal amount of positive and negative charges and the net charge will be 0. On the other hand, if we consider a volume including a boundary perpendicular to the direction of polarization, there is a net positive or negative charge on the surface which is not compensated by charges inside the dielectric. Therefore, the polarization charge appears on the surface on the dielectric. Polarization of the dielectric produces a macroscopic electric field which is determined by these surface charges. This can be seen from the following consideration. The electrostatic potential produced by a dipole can be represented as phi is equal to mu dot grad of 1 by r. Therefore, for a volume distribution of the polarization, we have phi r is equal to integration over dv into mu, which is a function of r prime, dot grad of 1 by modulus of r minus r prime, where the integration is performed over the volume of the dielectric, assuming for simplicity that the polarization P is constant throughout the medium and applying the Gauss theorem, we obtain phi is equal to integration over dv into grad of P by modulus of r minus r prime, which is equal to integration over ds into n dot p by r minus modulus of r minus r prime by divergence theorem. So finally we get phi r is equal to integration over ds into sigma by modulus of r minus r prime, where the integration is performed over the surface of the dielectric and sigma is equal to n dot p is the fictitious surface charge density. Here n is the unit normal to the surface directed outward from the polarized medium. Using the potential 7, we can easily calculate the electric field due to the uniform polarization P. Note that this field is macroscopic. It is a smooth function on atomic scale because we replace the discrete lattice dipoles with the smoothed polarization P. The total macroscopic electric field E is the sum of the applied field E0 and the field E1 is the field due to the polarization of the solid. So, total field electric field E is equal to E0 plus E1. The field E1 is called the depolarization field, for within the body it tends to oppose the applied field E0 as shown in figure 1. Figure 1 represents the depolarization field E1 is opposite to P. The fixed surface charges are indicated. The field of these charges is E1 within the ellipsoid. It can be shown that for specimens in the shape of ellipsoids, a class that includes spheres, cylinders, and discs as limiting forms have an advantageous property. A uniform polarization produces a uniform depolarization field inside the body. If Px, Py, Pz are the components of the polarization vector P referred to the principal axis of an ellipsoid, then the components of the depolarization field are written as E1x is equal to minus nx in Px, and where E subscript 1y is equal to minus n subscript y P subscript y, and E1z is equal to minus n subscript z into P subscript z. Here nx, ny, nz are the depolarization factors. Their values depend on the ratios of the principal axis of the ellipsoid. The n's are positive and satisfy the sum rule nx plus ny plus nz is equal to 4p in CGS units. For example, for a sphere nx is equal to ny is equal to nz is equal to 4p by 3. For a thin slab normal to the slab, nz is equal to 4p and nx is equal to ny is equal to 0. If the dielectric is an ellipsoid and a uniform applied field E0 is applied parallel to the principal axis of the ellipsoid, then E equals to E0 plus E1, which is equal to E0 minus n times P, and therefore the polarization P is equal to chi times E, which is equal to chi into E0 minus n times P. This gives P equals to chi divided by 1 plus n chi into E0. As is seen, the value of the polarization depends depolarization factor n. Local electric field at an atom. The value of the local electric field that acts at the site of an atom is significantly different from the value of the macroscopic electric field. The reason of that is that by definition, the macroscopic field is the field which is averaged over large number of dipoles. On the other hand, the local field which acts on a particular atom is influenced by the nearest surrounding and therefore can deviate from the average field. Now we consider the field that acts on the atom at the center of the sphere. If all dipoles are parallel to the z-axis and have magnitude p, the z component of the field at the center due to all other dipoles is according to equation 2 is given by E local is equal to E0 plus E dipole, which is equal to E0 plus summation over I into 3 into mu dot Ri times Ri minus Ri square times mu whole divided by Ri to the power 5, which is equals to E0 plus mu into summation over I 3 Zi square minus Ri square by Ri to the power 5, which is equal to E0. The latter equation comes from the fact that the x, y and z directions are equivalent because of the symmetry of the lattice end of the sphere. Thus, summation over xi square by Ri to the power 5 is equal to summation over I yi square divided by Ri to the power 5 is equal to summation over zi square by Ri to the power 5. The correct local field is just equal to the applied field E local is equal to E0 for an atom site with a cubic environment in a spherical specimen. Thus, the local field is not the same as the macroscopic average field E. Local electric field of a one-dimensional array. The model used by Epstein to calculate the local field in case of one-dimensional atomic array is shown in figure 2. This figure shows an array of equal spaced atomic dipoles separated by a distance a. Suppose an electric field E is applied from left to right. The aim is to find out the local field E1 or EI, which is a representative atom A sees. If mu I is the induced dipole in each atom due to applied field E, the internal field seen by an atom A is the sum of the applied and the fields produced by mu induced of all other atoms P, Q lying on the left of A and Rs lying on the right of A. The components of the field produced by a dipole moment in the direction of unit vector r and theta are Er is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0, 2 into mu cos theta by r cube, whereas E theta is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 mu sin theta by r cube. The field produced at A by mu I at P is obtained by the above equation if r is equal to A and theta is equal to 0. Thus, from equation 14 and 15, EAP is equal to 2 mu I by 4 pi epsilon 0 A cube. Similarly, EAR is equal to 2 minus mu I by 4 pi epsilon 0 minus A cube with theta is equal to 180 degree and r is equal to minus A. The contributions of the field due to atoms P and R at A is obtained by adding EAP and EAR. So, EAP plus EAR is equal to mu I by pi epsilon 0 A cube. In a similar way, EAQ plus EAS is equal to mu I by pi epsilon 0 2A whole cube. So, the internal field at atom A is equal to EIA is equal to E plus mu I by pi epsilon 0 A cube plus mu I by pi epsilon 0 into 2A to the power whole cube plus so on. So, finally, we get EIA is equal to E plus mu I by pi epsilon 0 A cube into summation over n is equal to 1 to infinity of 1 by n square, with where n is an integer. But we know that summation over n is equal to 1 to infinity 1 by n to the power 5 is equal to 1.2. 1 by n cube is equal to 1.2. So, equation 19 can be written as EIA is equal to E plus 1.2 mu I by pi epsilon 0 A cube. In a three-dimensional case, the calculation of the internal field would be very complicated and would depend upon the crystal structure. By analogy, with equation 20, one expects that the internal field in a crystal would involve similar terms. In a three-dimensional case, 1 by A cube may be replaced by n, the number of atoms per unit volume, and 1.2 by pi by a constant gamma, which depends upon the type of structure. Hence, EI is equal to E plus gamma n mu by epsilon 0, but n mu is equal to P polarization. Then we have EL is equal to EI, which is equal to E plus gamma by epsilon 0 times P. Gamma is called the internal field constant. Evaluation of local field for a cubic structure. To evaluate E local, we must calculate the total field acting on a certain typical dipole, this field being due to the external field as well as other dipoles in the system. This was done by Lorentz as follows. The dipole is imagined to be surrounded by a spherical cavity whose radius r is sufficiently large that the matrix lying outside it may be treated as a continuous medium as far as the dipole is concerned. The interaction of our dipole with the other dipoles lying inside the cavity is, however, to be treated microscopically, which is necessary since the discrete nature of the medium is very close to the dipoles should be taken into account. The local field acting on the central dipole is thus given by the sum E local is equal to E0 plus E1 plus E2 plus E3, where E0 is the external field, E1 is the depolarization field
that is the field due to the polarization charges lying at the external surfaces of the sample. E2 is the field due to the polarization charges lying on the surface of the Lorentz sphere, which is known as Lorentz field. E3 is the field due to the other dipoles lying within the sphere.
Figure 3a represents the procedure for computing the local field, and figure 3b the procedure for calculating E2, the field due to the polarization charge on the surface of the Lorentz sphere. Note that the part of the medium between the sphere and the external surface does not contribute anything, since the volume polarization charges compensate each other, resulting in a zero net charge in this region. The contribution E1 plus E2 plus E3 to the local field is nothing but the local field at one atom caused by the dipole moments of all the other atoms in the specimen. Dipoles at distances greater than perhaps 10 lattice constants from the reference site make a smoothly varying contributions, a contribution which may be replaced by two surface integrals. Now, capital D is equal to epsilon 0 into E0, which is equal to epsilon 0 in E times E plus P. So from this we calculate E0 is equal to D by epsilon 0, which is equal to E plus P by epsilon 0, and E1 is equal to minus D by epsilon 0 minus P by epsilon 0, taking E is equal to 0 in equation 23. Next, Lorentz field E2. The enlarged view of figure 3b, the cavity is shown in figure 4. If the surface of the sphere of radius r lying between theta and theta plus d theta is dA, where theta is the direction with the reference to the direction of the applied field, then dA is equal to 2 pi into pq times qr. But sin theta is equal to pq by r, pq is equal to r sin theta, d theta becomes qr by small r, q capital R by small r. So q into capital R is equal to small r into d theta. Hence dA is equal to 2 pi r sin theta r d theta is equal to 2 pi r square sin theta d theta. The charge dq on the surface dA is equal to the normal component of the polarization multiplied by the surface area. Therefore, dq is equal to p cos theta into dA, which is equal to p into 2 pi r square sin theta cos theta into d theta. The field due to this charge at A, denoted by dE2 in the direction theta is equal to 0, is dE2 is equal to dq cos theta by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square, and dE2 is equal to p into 2 pi r square sin theta cos theta d theta cos theta divided by 4 pi epsilon 0 r square, which becomes p by 2 epsilon 0 into cos theta into sin theta into d theta. Thus, the total field E2 due to the charge on the entire cavity is obtained by integration over dE2 is equal to p by 2 epsilon 0 integration from 0 to pi cos theta sin theta d theta, which becomes p by 2 epsilon 0 to pi cos theta d of minus cos theta, and we get E2 is equal to p by 3 epsilon 0. Field of dipoles inside cavity E3. The field E3 due to the dipoles within the spherical cavity is the only term that depends on the crystal structure. We showed for a reference site with cubic surroundings in a sphere that E3 is equal to 0 if all the atoms may be replaced by point dipoles parallel to each other. The total local field at a cubic site is then E local is equal to E plus P by epsilon 0 minus P by epsilon 0 plus 3 P by 3 epsilon 0 plus 0, which becomes E local is equal to E plus P by 3 epsilon 0. This is known as the Lorentz relation. The field acting at an atom in a cubic site is the macroscopic field E plus P by 3 epsilon 0 from the polarization of the other atoms in the specimen. Experimental data for cubic ionic crystals support the Lorentz relation. The difference between E, which is known as the Maxwell field, and the local field E local may be explained as follows. The field E is a macroscopic quantity, and as such is an average field, the average being taken over a large number of molecules as shown in figure 4. It is this field which enters into the Maxwell equations which are used for the macroscopic description of dielectric media. In the present situation, the field E is a constant throughout the medium. On the other hand, the local field E local is a microscopic field which fluctuates rapidly within the medium. As the figure indicates, the field is quite large at the molecular sites themselves. So the figure represents the difference between the Maxwell field E and the local field E local, and solid circles represents the molecules. In this module, we have learnt that the local field inside a dielectric is not the same as the applied electric field, rather it has contribution from external field, depolarization field, Lorentz field and other dipoles lying within the Lorentz sphere. Lorentz field and other dipoles lying within the Lorentz sphere were also discussed in detail. Thank you.